Good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to the Free State Sports Podcast, a podcast for all things sports. With me are my best friends in the whole wide world, Mike and Andrew. Boys, welcome to the show. How are we doing today?
Oh, you brought it
That's
back.
great. That's great. And I'm glad we're back to our roots.
That cringy intro that I invented that I wish never saw the light of day.
I'm doing great, but not as good as you're about to be doing because your birthday's tomorrow, Saquon.
That's right.
Whoop, whoop. Another year closer to retirement.
Yes, sir.
Felt that in my soul.
Yeah. Can you tell by the excitement that I'm feeling through my veins? Heck yeah. Also, the NFL has officially started last week. So if you like what you hear today, please like, comment, and subscribe. We are available on YouTube, Instagram, and Spotify. With all that being said, our first segment of today will be NFL contracts. From Denver, the Denver Broncos have extended cornerback Patrick Sutton to a 4-year, $96 million contract, making him the highest paid. Is it Surtain?
Surtain.
Surtain, okay.
Yeah.
Cornerback Patrick Surtain II, making him the highest paid defensive back in NFL history. Mike, what's your thoughts?
I think that's a smart move by Denver. There's really not much to say for Denver at this point. I think they're still the Denver Broncos. We actually saw them lose earlier today. Played the Seahawks, although it was a close game. The Broncos are still in a pit right now. I think it's a good move to keep him. He's a proven player. I don't see anything wrong with that. If you're a Denver fan, you got to hope they continue to build the team efficiently moving forward. Again, they're still in a very rough stretch as a team, so we'll see how it works out.
Yeah, no, I absolutely 100% agree with you there. I think that Surtain is a top 5, if not top 3 cornerback in the league. And somebody's going to have to become the highest paid in order for Sauce Gardner to become the highest paid cornerback in a couple years.
Facts.
Because I still think Sauce is probably the best, if not, the second best. I think he's better than Surtain, but Surtain is undoubtedly a fantastic corner and a top 5, if not top 3 talent.
Appreciate you for correcting me. I will add him on the many other lists of people names that I can't pronunciate, right?
We all get them wrong.
Monterey St. Brown. Moving to Cali, San Francisco 49ers wide receiver Brandon Ayuk has agreed to a 4-year, $120 million contract extension. Andy, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, no, this is another contract that I really like. I mean, we kind of talked about Ayuk's trade situation. Will they, won't they? They needed to get this done before it becomes an issue in the locker room, and I feel like they probably told that line way too thin. I'm glad they got the contract out there. I don't think there was any changes from the contract they gave him, a well back, like maybe 2 months ago?
Yes.
Yeah, this was one I don't think any of it, at least me personally, saw coming. Andrew mentioned when we originally talked about him that he didn't think he was going to stay there in San Fran. I didn't either. They had just drafted Ricky Pearsall. Obviously, he had his incident this past week. But with them drafting a capable wide receiver and really already having such loaded talent over there, I don't think anybody would have been surprised if they let him walk. But he's definitely a huge contribution to this offense, so it's cool that they were able to work out a deal. And again, that one kind of surprised me. I think thought he was going to end up somewhere else. Whether it's the smartest move for the Niners, I don't know. It really depends on, what else would be available for them to use that money on if they didn't keep him. But overall, I'm not opposed to it. I think he's a proven player, and he's a big asset for that offense.
Couldn't agree more. I believe leading up to the season, we all believed that he was going to make a transition to the Pittsburgh Steelers, even the Patriots. So for him to get this deal done prior and maybe active later on today or tomorrow, as I was, I can't wait to see him on the field. He's a definitely key focal player of that team, and he's one of the reasons why they went to Super Bowl to begin with. Moving to Texas, the Dallas Cowboys have agreed to sign CeeDee Lamb to a 4-year, $136 million contract extension. Mikey, what's your thoughts?
I think that's a brilliant move. This is probably my favorite of the recent contract news that we've seen. Obviously, this was something we touched on a previous episode as well, with Jerry Jones coming out and doing Jerry Jones things and kind of saying some concerning things about that whole situation and how he felt about it. I wasn't sure if they were going to get that done just because of that, But I'm glad to see that CeeDee Lamb didn't let that affect his negotiation process. Again, he is a huge, huge asset for that team. I would argue that he's probably their number one asset offensively. I would say that offense pretty much needs him to be successful. I'm not sure what they would look like without him. So that's a very important move, and it's good to see that they got that done.
This is, sorry, my bad. We're still on CD, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I was just looking something up for future reference. No, I absolutely love this. I think we talked about this in small amounts last week, I believe. Last podcast.
I believe so, yeah.
CeeDee Lamb should be the focal point of the Cowboys offense. He's better than Dak Prescott. He's better than pretty much any other piece in that offense. So it only makes sense to pay him and pay him whatever he deserves. I'm glad that Jerry Jones was able to get that deal done because last thing I need is CeeDee Lamb to end up on Browns or the Bengals.
Yeah.
Or wherever they would end up.
Yeah. Speaking of Dak, guess who just got signed? So Dak Prescott has just received a 4-year, $250 million contract extension, making him one of the highest-paid quarterbacks ever. Mike, what's your thoughts?
I mean, I said it the first time he got his deal a few years back when they made the big deal out of that. He's really, really good in the regular season, but I see a lot of people talk about how Lamar's really good in the regular season, but he struggles to win playoff games, and they tend to have a lot of hate towards him for that, so I don't know if the same hate is there for Dak, but I feel like I don't see it as much.
It is there.
But yeah, he's been really good in the regular season. He's struggled in the postseason. I don't know if the problem really with a lot of these guys, even when you don't like the deal, is it comes down to who's available if you let him walk, right? Like who's going to be available at that time. Because good quarterbacks, franchise quarterbacks, are very hard to come by, as we're seeing with this new rookie class that's coming in now very early, so you can't really base them off their early struggles. But I don't know. I would say Dak is probably worth it if you're the Cowboys. You kind of have to keep him. But also, from a fan perspective, I don't know if I could honestly say that I'm a huge fan of him getting such a big deal. Do love him as a guy, though. I have a lot of love for him as a person. I just don't know if he's that caliber player to be worth that much money. It's hard to say. I'm kind of right in the middle, to be honest with you.
Understandable. Andrew, you in agreement with that?
Yeah, I'm actually kind of right there, too. I kind of like the Cowboys. My wife's a big Cowboys fan. And Dak has had the Cowboys in consistent playoff contention. But then you have the problem with, is he winning enough in the postseason? And no, he's not. But can you fault him with that? He hasn't played his best games in the postseason. But a majority of the team didn't play their best games in the postseason as well. Is Dak going to be the guy to get you the Super Bowl? That remains to be seen. I don't think he is, personally. I don't think this was a great move because it doesn't leave the door open for you to address a quarterback in the draft or even address a free agent quarterback, address missing pieces in your offense. The Cowboys are continuously on this win-now mode. But I don't think they're a win-now team, especially with their running back room, which is abysmal. I think this is going to hold the Cowboys back from being successful, especially in the future.
Understood. With that, do you think there's a better option out there other than Dak?
No. And again, my biggest problem isn't Dak got a new contract. My biggest problem is Dak got a big contract.
Right.
The Cowboys have already paid out a lot of people. And we can see that reflecting in the personnel they're bringing to surround Dak with. Do any of you think that Ezekiel Elliott is a good enough running back to be an RB1 in this league?
No,
exactly.
I think he's already past his prime.
Absolutely. And we saw that in New England when they moved on from him after, a year?
Mm-hmm.
They went with Ramondre Stevenson, who had a great game today. If anyone caught that. I'm skipping ahead. I apologize.
Nope, he did well. Okay, that is fair.
Do we also, Mike? Sorry.
Do we also believe that No, you're good. Do we also believe that Dak's new contract is considered one of the worst contracts for a quarterback?
No.
Yeah, I definitely don't think it's the worst.
Again, it remains to be seen, but Trevor Lawrence didn't even win today. The Cowboys won.
Yeah.
Then we had Daniel Jones's contract in the same division as Dak Prescott was abysmal. He didn't deserve any of that money. He got a contract based on making the playoffs. Who gives a contract based on making the bare minimum to succeed in the NFL? You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
And the Giants are paying for that right now. Dak is already old. What happens if he regresses? What happens if he gets better? Who knows? Quarterbacks can get better as they get older. Dak could settle down in the pocket, start throwing dimes. Who knows? All I know is multiple teams I gave contracts to worse quarterbacks. I mean, Joe Flacco fell off. Jared Goff fell off after he went to the Super Bowl. Sorry, I'm really... Great question, Saquon.
No, you're good.
Kyler Murray, who kind of played pretty well today, he was given a huge contract. I believe at one point he was the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. Deshaun Watson's contract was abysmal. I don't even think Dak is top 10.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Anyone who signed Nathan Peterman to a team,
yeah.
no matter the amount, terrible.
Yeah, I don't think he's anywhere near the worst contracts. But with them re-signing him and CeeDee and bringing back Zeke, it just makes you wonder when they're going to try to make some bolder moves to win some playoff games and get to the Super Bowl, because it seems like they've had the same recipe for a while, and it's not really getting them to that big game. I do wish Dak the best, obviously. I think that there's a good chance that this contract could be his last chance to kind of show that he can win in the playoffs and take them a little bit further. I don't know if I see him sticking around if they end up without postseason success on this contract.
Yeah, well, you can go have success and replace Michael Penix in Minnesota at the end of his contract.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Before we move on, I've said before and I'll say it again. I believe that the success of the team is not only with the players, but also with leadership in regards to like Jerry Jones. Because Jerry has had many of weapons in the past time. You know, I brought up Amari Cooper many of times and just who they've had in the backfield. Way and the team still be successful in the regular season, however, not as successful in the post. I feel like they could have been more adjustments done. But we will see what Dak and CeeDee will do in the foreseeable future this season. Hopefully they can figure something out, because I think it's a make or break on what's going to happen next.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Well, not this season. It's going to be a make or break by the time Dak contract ended, because he handed him a fuck ton of money. Sorry. Am I allowed to say fuck?
I mean, you're the editor. You can leave it in or take it out. It's
Am I allowed to say it?
I mean, I don't see
Fuck,
why.
I don't know.
It's your world. I'm just living in it.
No. It's your world right now.
All right. Moving down to Florida, we have two contract signings. So, cornerback Jaylen Ramsey, hopefully I said that right, has agreed to a 3-year, $72.3 million contract extension. Andy, what's your thoughts?
First of all, it's actually Jaylen. No, I'm kidding. Again, I think Jaylen Ramsey is still a top 5 cornerback in this league, and he should be in contention for the highest paid quarterback in the league. I don't think he is. I was checking numbers. I don't think he is the highest paid.
I don't believe
He is,
so.
according to the NFL's post when they announced his extension. It says he is the highest paid cornerback in the NFL.
But Mr. Surtain did overlap that.
Surtain.
With the 4-year. What did I say? Surtain?
Wasn't he
Oh.
was highest?
Surtain.
He was the highest paid DB. Jalen's just the
They're
highest
both the
paid.
cornerbacks. They're both cornerbacks.
Oh,
Yeah.
So did Jalen's come out after?
I have no idea. Based on this list I have right here, it's Pat Surtain, Javier Alexander, AJ Terrell, Denzel Ward, and then Jaylen Ramsey.
Well, either way, you got a shit ton of money. That's all I know.
Yeah.
He got a lot of money, and it's absolutely deserved. Jaylen Ramsey has been a consistently good player dating back to when he was on the Rams. I mean, was he on the Rams?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. He won a Super Bowl with Odell when they went. Couldn't agree more. All right. Now, the other person that received a big contract is head coach Mike McDaniel, who has signed a multi-year contract extension worth up to $4.5 million per year. Mike, what's your thoughts?
Well, first of all, he's one of my personal favorite coaches in the league. I just love the love of football that he has, and just the I love to see a coach that knows the game as much as he does and is as good at interacting with the players as he is. I think he's a hell of a head coach. He was actually one of the names I threw out there for candidates for early pick for Coach of the Year this year. Of course, I ended up picking Andy Reid. Can't ever bet against him. But he is one of my favorites. He's definitely has proven success with the team. I think him staying alongside all those key guys that they already locked down is huge for them, and I think that Miami is going to remain a top dog in the AFC for years to come.
Absolutely. Andy, what's your thoughts?
My thoughts are just right there with Mike McDaniel. He is a fantastic head coach. He brought a winning culture to Miami. He was able to succeed with Tua as his quarterback and probably elevated Tua into a better standing. Granted, Tua has the best weapons in the league. There's nothing to really say wrong about Mike McDaniels except that he's cutting a little close. He's 20-14 in his career, 21-14 now that they just won today. But he brought a culture of winning to Miami that hasn't been there since the early 2000s. I talked about that with Tua. And it's reflected on Mike McDaniels, who's just a great head coach, genuinely great guy. I can't say enough good things about him.
Yep, couldn't agree more. He's definitely a head coach that deserves it. Now, we move up to Pittsburgh. Yeah, we love Pittsburgh here, don't we, guys?
Boo!
To defensive lineman. To defensive lineman Cam Hayward, who received a 3-year, $45 million contract extension. Since you booed, Mike, you can go first.
Well, I love Cam Hayward. You know, he's honestly, all jokes aside, obviously we're all Ravens fans. That's a big rivalry, probably the biggest rivalry in football, has been for decades and decades. A little less so now that the Steelers are less of a threat, but that's besides the point.
Whoa.
But I was
Steelers have beat the Ravens way too many times.
That's true. They do beat us pretty often. But I will say, Cam Hayward is definitely one of the best defensive players out there. I think he's a key defensive player for them alongside T.J. Watt. So I think those two combined alone, if you build your defense around that, I think that's a really solid defensive unit over there. So I'm a firm believer that defense wins championships. I love everything that Cam Hayward's done. I actually recently just watched him on Hot Ones. He's a pretty cool dude, too. So I'm happy for him, happy for the Steelers, and they were able to keep a hell of a player.
Andy, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, you can't really argue with the decision. They got a pretty good price out of it, too. He's one of the better ends in the league, and he just continues to pressure quarterbacks and stuff up running lanes and stuff the run. You can't ask for more from a player like him, and he's excelled in pretty much everything the Steelers have asked him to do. It's the reason why their defense is very plug and play when it comes to their secondary. It's the reason why their defense is so dominant, especially like today. So it was a perfect amount for a player like him, and the Steelers fans should rejoice that they were able to lock him up for 3 more years.
Absolutely. I agree with your points. And with that, that will conclude the NFL contract portion of the pod. We'll be moving on to the NFL news. First on the list, we'll be discussing the lawsuit that occurred earlier this year. On August 1st of 2024, a federal judge overturned a jury's $4.7 billion verdict in a class action lawsuit filed by Sunday Ticket subscribers against the NFL and granted judgment to the NFL. Andy, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, this is funny because I'm actually writing an essay on this topic for one of my classes. So I have a lot of thoughts about this. I'm going to keep it brief, though. I think that looking at the facts behind the case, there was no other choice. They presented 2 methodologies that were completely flawed, completely wrong, and the jury went out and came up with their own way to charge the NFL for quote-unquote violating antitrust laws. And I'm putting that in quotations because that's been overturned now. The NFL did not violate antitrust laws, as the federal judge has now deemed. U.S. District Judge Philip Gutierrez deemed that this needs to be thrown out because the jury didn't listen to his instructions. And the testimonies from Dr. Daniel Rasher and John Zona had to be thrown out, which would lead the jury to no other choice but to determine it, not liable for damages, if that makes sense. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it makes a hell of a lot more sense than what I knew about it. I didn't really know anything much about the decision coming in, but that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I have nothing to add to that. But I'm glad you had research regarding it because the situation itself seemed convoluted when we initially heard about it. So for this to arise, it's not often that you hear big companies such as the NFL win a case like this in this type of scenario. So
yeah,
that's good news.
It is, and also I want to say this is now the second time that the NFL has been brought up on these charges that happened in 2017. And it was pretty much viewed the same way by a different judge, Beverly Reed O'Connell, who dismissed the lawsuit. And then they're actually expecting for another appeal to the Ninth Court Appeals for another retrial. They're really trying to nail the NFL on this one. I don't know if there's a case. I really don't. The reason why the methodologies were flawed was because they didn't present any evidence of who could have taken over the NFL Sunday Ticket if DirecTV didn't do it. Were there people willing and ready to do it? They didn't present anything. So I don't know, but expect it to happen again.
Yeah, that's
so. Since you seem well knowledgeable about the situation, what do you think is the goal of these repetitive lawsuits? Like, do you think it's money? Do you think it's power? Do you think they want to get some type of gain from the situation?
No, I actually don't think it's money. I think that people are feeling a little bit gypped because the NFL is a monopoly against every single NFL game, one of the biggest sports out there. And you only get 2 in-network games to watch.
Yeah.
So they feel like we should be able to watch more games. Subscribers don't want to pay all this money in order to watch football, something that is free in other states. Like, if I'm a Ravens fan living in Texas, I can't watch a Ravens game unless they're on primetime.
Yeah.
Right.
Or I can go out and spend hold on. Or I can go out and spend what was reported $293.96 on the NFL Sunday Ticket through DirecTV.
Yeah, that's actually insane.
It is. I think they said now if you want to watch every single game through all the streaming services, you have to pay like $700 or something like that for the year, which is and that's crazy to me.
I do believe I stated that a couple podcasts ago that it's around $700 to $900 just due to the fact that each individual game is on platforms like Peacock. NFL will be on Netflix eventually. They're just on these premium streaming services, which, you'll pay for it, but what's the likelihood that you're ever going to watch something on it again?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a sticky situation, and I'm curious to see if anything else comes out of it. But we'll be moving on to the next news. The NFL has officially introduced the new kickoff rules. However, it's been receiving backlash from both players, staff, and commentary. Mike, what's your thanks on it?
I'll tell you who else has been giving you backlash over the new kickoff rules, and that's me, because I hate it. I absolutely hate it. Now, I know they got it from the XFL, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
XFL.
And they said they wanted it to sort of, I think the goal initially was to cause more attempts at returns or something like that, make the game more exciting, but also try to make it safer, so they say. I hate it so much. I hate seeing the yellow square on the screen and the players standing still until the person catches the ball. And I'll be honest with you, I haven't seen any more returns this year than I've seen in previous years. A lot of them are still touchbacks. The only difference is it's out to the 30 now. I don't think it's making that big of a difference at all, and I think it has completely ruined kickoffs for me, to be honest.
All right. Andrew, what's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, my thoughts are right there. In fact, I would like to use a quotation from Madden. And he stopped where he would have been if he would have just taken a knee. And that's in reference to when players now start getting tackled at the 30-yard line, right? Now, hear me out, okay? Right now, teams are playing along with the rules. But at some point in time, the line to start will be around the 30. Whether you return the ball past the 30, maybe to the 32, 33-yard line, or maybe it's because the ball was a touchback. It's going to be the same thing when they moved touchback from the 20-yard line to the 25. They just increased it 5 yards and expected more people to listen to the rules. I think teams are going to throw that out. Risking a touchdown on a kickoff return is too dangerous. They're just going to send it out of the back of the end zone.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely seems that way.
I agree with both statements. And I do believe, to clarify with Mike's point, I believe there was one touchdown, one official kickoff return today, and that was it. We've had close ones. I believe we had an early on game that they brought out to the 40. I want to say it was the Bears game, but so far it hasn't been really spectacular. It's just been nothing but touchbacks. I see this rule only lasting for a year. I also believe we talked about it in previous podcasts with the NFL considering with the 18-week games. That's also one received kickback. I'm unsure still on what the commissioner or NFL goal is in regards to player safety and just entertainment for spectators. But so far, it's not being received well whatsoever.
Yeah, and a little bit correction. It's an 18-game season, not 18-week games.
That's what I mean.
We're already in an 18-week season, by the way.
Okay, so 18 games.
Yeah,
that's not going to work for most players. Can't even last 17.
Yeah,
I would just reduce it down to 16 or 14, if that.
It should have just stayed at 16. People were already limping to the finish line, but no, it's already on track to increase to 18. And then, I don't know, by the end of 2030, we're going to be at freaking 30 games.
Yeah.
Yep, can't wait to see everyone wearing the protection cover caps and CTE percentage rise.
Rosters are going to increase to 102 so we can have backup players at every position.
Yep.
I just love
backup players at every position.
I love that they acknowledge all the injuries and the CTE and all that, but then they're like, "Nah, we're gonna go ahead and make sure there's 18 games now."
Yeah, I mean, why not increase the playoffs? Add 2 more teams, increase the playoffs. You can get a lot of money.
Just put everybody in the playoffs. Actually, make a second season within the season.
Yeah,
and we'll be good to go.
Literally the NBA, because the NBA has a playoff tournament for you to get into the playoffs. They might as well just make each playoff game a best of 5 or best of 3, or whatever it is.
Didn't they start doing that a couple years ago in NASCAR? I don't watch NASCAR, but I watch a lot of the NASCAR news.
I don't watch it either. I'm not that.
I have no idea.
No, I watched.
Fair enough.
You probably know him, Saquon U-Tree on YouTube.
Yes.
Yeah, he covered NASCAR not too long ago.
Oh wow!
And he talked about how convoluted their whole playoff setup is.
I didn't even know there were playoffs for NASCAR. I just assumed that they drove.
Yeah, me too.
That's the way it used to be. Whoever had the most points at the end of the season would be declared the champion. But now you get points to make it into the playoffs. Now it's elimination style. It's dumb.
Interesting. Well, if you are a viewer or a listener and you want us to watch NASCAR or go to an event, please let us know down in the comments below. Moving on. Cleveland Browns running back Nick Chubb suffered a knee injury and will be out for 4 weeks. Andrew, what's your thoughts?
It's funny because I put down my thoughts and then I checked the score from the Cowboys-Browns game today and the stats. So my original thoughts, I could still stand by this, don't worry. This is definitely going to hurt Cleveland. Don't get me wrong. Nick Chubb is one of the better running backs in the league. Definitely top 5 talent. My only issue is Jerome Ford could be maybe just as good as Nick Chubb. I don't think so anymore. Don't worry. I mean, today he did pretty good. He had 12 carries for 44 yards and a touchdown. Averaged about 3.7 yards per carry. But I don't think that's enough to step in the shoes of Nick Chubb. So if I'm a Browns fan, I'm slapping that panic button. I don't think Deshaun Watson is a good enough quarterback to carry this team. And I don't think the Browns without Nick Chubb is a good enough team to be into the playoffs this year.
I agree with that 100%. I think Nick Chubb is one of the most important parts of that offense. I think you got some other good players over there, obviously, but like Andrew said, I don't think they really have a star at quarterback. Even if you look at the other guys they have over there, I mean, the quarterback room is not very good. Like Andrew said, I don't think Deshaun Watson is an elite caliber quarterback. And if you're going to lose one of your elite players, you need another elite player to replace him. I just don't think that they quite have that. I think Nick Chubb is the lifeblood of that offense. Without a run game in football, there's not much you can do against a modern NFL defense. You have to have some type of run game. I think that's a big loss for him. I think it's going to affect them tremendously. And, you feel for them because they're in a really tough division, too, with the Ravens, the Steelers, and the Bengals. That's probably the AFC North toughest division in football, in my opinion. So that's definitely a huge loss for Cleveland fans.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more.
Not to mention, Deshaun Watson did have an abysmal game today.
Did he?
24 of 45 for 169 yards, one touchdown, and 2 interceptions.
Already passing 45 times. That's not a good sign.
No, it's not. And they lost pretty badly too, 33-17.
Yeah, that's abysmal. Hopefully he returns soon in Nick Chubb because he's one of the focal point players in that team. So we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah.
Moving on to Philly. Philadelphia Eagles defensive back James Bradbury suffered a lower leg injury as well in practice and will be out for 6 to 8 weeks. Michael, what's your thoughts?
I think they have a loaded secondary over there. I think that they could be okay, but that's definitely a significant loss for them. I wouldn't say it's as significant as a Nick Chubb loss to Cleveland. I think they still have a loaded defense over there. They were actually my pick to go to the Super Bowl versus our Ravens this year. I think they won their Week 1 game. Obviously, they just barely squeaked out that win. Jaylen Hurts still, it's only been 1 week, so I try not to be too critical, but he still didn't look too great from what I saw.
Jaylen Hurts looked abysmal.
Yeah. Still struggling with turnovers. So you really got to rely on the defense over there. So I think it's a significant loss, but I think with the 2 new corners that they drafted over there, arguably the best 2 in the draft. One of them, my personal favorite pick, was Quinyon Mitchell. And they still got Darius Slay over there as well. So I think their secondary could be fine, but time will tell, really.
I'm actually a little bit opposite of you right now. I don't think the Eagles had a good defensive game versus the Packers at all. They allowed 29 points, 260 yards from Jordan Love, who also had 2 touchdowns. So they did have a takeaway, so that's good. But they also allowed, a combination of 157 yards rushing on the day.
Yeah, that's not very good.
So that's above 400 yards on the day. I wouldn't like that if I was the Eagles defense. That was their big problem last year, the Eagles defense. And Bradbury's injury looks like it's affecting the secondary. Sure, they have Quinyon Mitchell, who actually had a pretty decent game.
He did. He played well.
He did. But I don't think he's going to be enough to hold this team down, especially for the 4 to 6 week range.
Absolutely. Speaking of Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers, Jordan Love suffered a knee injury during the Green Bay Packers versus Philadelphia Eagles game. He's expected to miss 3 to 6 weeks of action. To Michael's question that he asked before the podcast, will his absence be sufficient for the team's downfall or success? Andrew, what's your thoughts?
I mean, it's going to cause a team's downfall for this year. I think the prospect of Green Bay was very high, but I don't see them succeeding without good quarterback play.
Yeah, I would agree with that 100%. I think that's a big loss for them. And I think 3 to 6 weeks isn't terrible. But if I'm Green Bay, I don't know if you have a guy that can step up in his place to help them win games. He's really a huge part of that team. That's definitely a big loss for them, although I would like to, if I was Packers, I would sit him as long as they possibly can to not risk him re-injuring himself. But 6 weeks is also a significant amount of time, so I don't know. It's going to depend on how his healing process looks. Definitely a big, big loss for them. If I was a Packers fan, I'd be sick to my stomach over that one.
Actually, can I switch up real quick?
Absolutely.
Okay. If Jordan Love is only out for 3 weeks, there's hope. If he's out for the full 6 weeks, there's still a tiny shrivel of hope. Mm-hmm. I'm going to read off the upcoming schedule, if you guys don't mind.
Go for it.
And you tell me if this is, like, winnable. What record could the Packers get? They're 0-1 right now.
Okay.
Upcoming Colts, Packers. I can see the Colts walking away with that win.
That's very possible. Yeah. They got a healthy Anthony Richards now.
Yep. What do you think, Saquon?
A loss for the Packers.
Yep. The Titans?
I think the Packers could probably squeak out a win there.
Yeah.
Like a barely a win, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Vikings.
I the same
loss.
Thing. I think. Really? You think?
I believe
without
so.
Their starting quarterback, without the Vikings starting
with
quarterback?
Sam Darnold.
Well, from what I saw, Sam Darnold did phenomenal. But then again, on the flip side of the coin, it's the Giants.
Yeah.
So that doesn't really mean much. But on paper and what they displayed today, I think that they could beat the Packers.
That's fair.
I think I would give that win to the Packers, personally.
I would have to agree with that.
Rams? I would definitely give that to the Rams.
Yeah, 100% Rams are taking that one.
Yeah. Then it would be the Cardinals. I could see the Packers beating the Cardinals here.
Yeah, they should be able to win that one.
And this is the 6th week. It would be the Texans, and I would have to give that to the Texans.
I'd agree.
So I'd say there's a chance to come out on 4-2, maybe 3-3.
Yeah,
and if they come out 3-3, well, they would be 3-4. By the way, my bad. I could see Jordan Love turning the season around and getting them to the playoffs.
Yeah. I don't think their season's necessarily in jeopardy, but it's definitely going to make it tougher on them for sure.
So if he does come back, who's to say that he immediately starts? Maybe the coach feels as though he's not physically prepared.
No.
So maybe he'll sit him out for another game.
I don't think so, personally.
I just don't think they can afford it, honestly.
No. They're definitely in win-now mode in Green Bay.
You think they will rush him back if he's good within 3 days?
No, I think
3 weeks, I should say.
The second he gets medically cleared, he's going to be back on the field.
Well, hopefully he's not gone long term because he seems to be the leading role in Green Bay.
Yeah.
And he's one of the main reasons why Aaron Rodgers pretty much left and went to Jersey. So
yeah.
Hopefully good things happen there. Moving on to our last news, the biggest news that happened today. The NFL has announced that hip-hop artist K-Dot, a.k.a. Kendrick Lamar, will headline the 2025 Apple Music Super Bowl 59 halftime show. Mike, what's your thoughts?
I love that. I've said in the group chat earlier that Drake should have never pressed that man because, I mean, look at him now. He's taking over the whole world and at Drake's expense. But I think that's really cool. One of my favorite halftime shows was the one they did with the West Coast one they did with Eminem and Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg and 50 Cent made a surprise appearance. Kendrick was there. That was one of my favorite ones. So I think it'll be cool to see Kendrick be the headliner. And I think he's more than earned it, to be honest with you.
I agree. Andrew, what's your thoughts?
He hits all my criteria. Is he a good artist? Yes, he absolutely is a good artist. Has he been involved in any scandals recently? Not really.
Other than murder.
Yeah, other than murder, yeah. Is he Taylor Swift? No, he's obviously not Taylor Swift. So he fits the criteria, and I want him at that. I want him at this halftime show.
And that last one checks
I want him at
last
halftime show. I want him at every halftime show. Yeah. As long as it's not Taylor Swift, really.
Here's a question. Do you think he's going to perform Not Like Us?
Yes.
I mean, he has to, right?
But here's the thing. how many times is he going to play it, though?
Yeah, that is the thing.
For those that are not aware or who have not seen it, Kendrick dropped a concert featuring the West Coast. It was West Coast oriented, and he played "Not Like Us" a maximum of 6 times.
That was a beautiful thing.
And best believe the entire arena was singing it every time. He had Russell Westbrook up there. He had DeRozan up there. He had, once again, West Coast artists up there, such as Tyler, the Creator, Dr. Dre up there. So with this, I am a Kendrick Lamar fan. However, I do believe that 15 minutes is not enough time to display his art and music.
It is going to be tough.
I would probably say like 20, 25. Because his catalog is so huge, just like with previous artists, such as when we had Beyonce and Bruno Mars and The Weeknd. I believe they deserve longer time.
And
hopefully
Beyonce
in the near future.
At the same time.
Completely forgot about that. Yeah. Hopefully they eventually extend halftime show performances, because I know when Usher was on stage, everyone expected it to be a little bit longer. So for it to only be 13 to 15 minutes, and wasn't satisfactory enough.
It's hard. It's hard.
I look
for me
forward
to agree with that. I watch football to watch football, personally, and it's not nothing against the halftime show, but it's already an extended halftime because of the halftime show, which can cause us problems. And it's been reported in the past that quarterbacks have problems getting back into rhythm after waiting that long, after halftime.
Yeah, I would too if I was watching Shakira perform. But I would much rather watch a halftime show than them pan to Taylor Swift 12 times during the Super Bowl. But that's just me. And your point's very fair.
That's great, but they're going to do it anyway.
Correct.
If Taylor Swift is there, they're going to pan to her 12 times, and you have to watch a halftime show. Congrats.
Oh, absolutely.
They're going to pan it to her rocking out at the halftime show.
Absolutely. She will be the halftime show, even though she's not the halftime show.
But I can't be mad because she's increased the economy for the NFL and the world, apparently. So, fair enough. Good to them. But this concludes the NFL news. Now we'll be transitioning on to the Week 1 recap. And unfortunately, boys, we got to start with the bad news. Last Thursday, the Kansas City Chiefs defeated the Baltimore Ravens 27-20 at home. Andrew, what's your thoughts?
It was a fantastic game, and I am proud the way the Ravens played. There was some mistakes at the end, but if you focus in on the mistakes, it was a crappy game. If we don't focus in on the mistakes and we focus in on the game on a whole, Lamar Jackson had a pretty respectable stat line. 26 of 41, 267 yards and a touchdown. Mahomes, 20 of 28, 291, a touchdown and an interception. That interception was so weird. I've never seen Mahomes throw a ball like that.
I have not either. Neither has Chris Collinsworth.
Yeah. It was a heck of a play by the Colts. Derrick Henry was contained. That was a little hard to watch. Isaiah Likely had a breakout game from hell.
Best game of his career, I think.
He was going off, and he was a toe away from being the hero.
Literally.
One toe. I'm not mad. It was such a great game. It's hard to fault any of these players, the team, the refs, or anything. It was a fantastic 4 quarters of football.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it was painful for us as Ravens fans, but at the end of the day, you lost 27-20 against the Chiefs. I think that's pretty respectable. I think anytime you can only lose by 1 score against a team like the Chiefs, I think that's huge. Really shows a lot of grit and what you're capable of as a team. Lamar did have a couple missed throws. But I will say he was running for his life as well. There's 3 new starters on that Ravens offensive line. I think it showed in this game. I'm not going to get into conspiracy theories, but there were a lot of illegal formations penalties called on the Ravens, and it seemed like the Chiefs had lined up very similarly numerous times and were never called for it. Hate to see that because I don't feel like the Chiefs need help to win games. I think they're already the top team in the NFL, and I actually do enjoy watching them play. But the game was advertised. It was a great back-and-forth game between the 2-time NFL MVP and the Super Bowl MVP. Like I said, Lamar did struggle at times, but again, he was on the run the whole game. Got to work on that offensive line. Got to work on that discipline. There, like I said, excessive penalties. Some could have been easily prevented. Just things you got to clean up if you're the Ravens. And it came down to that play that was originally called a touchdown by Isaiah Likely in the back of the end zone. Again, was reversed and his toe was just barely on the white line. I think overall, Ravens, you could, like Andrew said, you can look at the mistakes, but overall, I think you got to be happy if you're only losing one score against the Chiefs.
Or before we proceed, I have one thing to say. And Mike, you put me on this. All right. Whew. Michael Vick, Robin Griffin III, and Cam Newton. All legendary quarterbacks whom success did not transfer to the postseason. Lamar Action Jackson. You are, is, and will be the greatest dual-threat quarterback of all time. However, your biggest threat is Patrick Mahomes and yourself. Last season was not your last chance at the Super Bowl, but it was your best. The day you overcome both of those threats will be the day you stick to your promise. And I believe in you. That is all.
That was beautiful.
Big trust. Dude, big trust.
I also still believe in Lamar, by the way. We're getting
absolutely.
a Super Bowl with Lamar.
And that's the same thing. That's the same thing I try to toe the line with Lamar and Josh Allen and Dak Prescott, even Joe Burrow, right? Your season or your career is not dependent on postseason success or regular season success or whatnot. It takes one good year to be a Super Bowl champion. That's it.
Yep.
One good year, one big weapon, one thing. And that could be there for Lamar. That could be there for any quarterback in the league. I mean, Eli Manning is a 2-time Super Bowl winner. Nick Foles is a Super Bowl winner. I don't know how anyone can discount any quarterback in this league from becoming a Super Bowl winner.
It seems as though as time passes, people make it seem easier and easier, not realizing that it's pretty hard to make a Super Bowl if we're all in agreement, right? It's pretty hard.
1 in 32.
Not too many quarterbacks that go to Super Bowl make it back, such as Jared Goff or even Nick Foles, Joe Flacco, for instance.
Joe Flacco, Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Who is considered one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah. And for people like, Patrick Mahomes, Jimmy G has made it before as a backup and a starter. Tom Brady, for them to, in recent history, go to Super Bowl in many years is nothing but a miracle. And I do believe that Lamar Jackson can do that. And it'll happen eventually.
It will.
We saw what he's capable of last year.
Yeah, I don't think that window's closing. I think the Ravens franchise has always been under good ownership, good front office, good coaching staff. I think they'll figure it out.
As long as they don't, look at a Denny's menu when they're running offense.
Don't break Greg Roman back, please.
Good old Gerg.
Please. Please don't. But that's the name of the game. Moving on to the next game that happened last week. Last Friday, the Philadelphia Eagles defeated the Green Bay Packers 34-29 in Brazil. Mike, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, Game 2 was another fun back-and-forth one. It was a battle. The Eagles ended up winning 34-29. It was very explosive. The Eagles' new acquisition, Saquon Barkley, went for over 100 total yards and 3 total touchdowns. 2 of those were rushing touchdowns. 109 of those yards were rushing yards. Jordan Love went down with that injury we talked about earlier, so we'll see how that affects them going forward. Still don't think he went down on, I believe, the second or third to last play, so really the game was already decided at that point. But the player that really stood out to me in this game was Saquon Barkley and how useful he's going to be for the Eagles, especially if we continue to see Jalen Hurts struggle the way he has. Barkley's going to be a huge, huge part of that offense, so it was cool to see him have success, and I'm excited to see what the Eagles do moving forward.
What's your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I pretty much had the same thing. Saquon Barkley had a tremendous game going for 109 and 2 touchdowns. Jalen Hurts and Jordan Love were both shaky at quarterback play, and this could be for a lot of reasons. Let's be honest. This is a away game for both of these teams. They don't have the luxury of traveling in the continental U.S. in order to play. They're in a different time zone that could have thrown everything off. We all know this, right? But both these quarterbacks struggled to break a 60% completion percentage. Both these quarterbacks threw interceptions. Jordan Love threw 1, and Jalen Hurts threw 2. So it's shaky start for these two quarterbacks, and then Jordan Love went down with an injury at the very end of the game. Could that have changed the chances of Green Bay winning that game? I don't know. I would like to think, but who knows? It was a great game regardless, and I think both these teams should be proud in their offenses and a little bit worried whether their defense is going to perform up to standard this season.
Before we proceed, are we in agreement that this is potentially Saquon's CMC year?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Saquon's finally on a good team that doesn't need him to carry the team.
Yeah, good team, solid line, good coaching staff. I think he'll have a lot of success over there.
Right. In Cincinnati, the New England Patriots defeated the Bengals 16-10. Big shocker. Andrew, what's your thoughts?
I have a couple takeaways from this game, and they're very big. First of all, I think the Bengals are starting to miss DJ Reader a lot. They failed to get a lot of pressure during this game. But to continue on to that point, Jamar Chase was held in check by a breakout game from Christian Gonzalez, who looked up to form. Jamar Chase had a pretty good game. I think it was like 6 catches for 64 yards, no touchdowns. The Bengals' offensive line was a huge issue in this game. I think they were... how many sacks did they come up with during the game? I don't think I wrote that down.
I didn't even look, to be honest with you. This was a game I didn't catch, so I don't have too much knowledge on it other than the score, which surprised me as well.
Yeah,
well,
super low.
Just like Andrew, I was watching it, and I must say their running back punched through the Bengals every chance they give him. I believe it was Steve.
Ramondre Stevenson had a breakout game, 25 carries for 120 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Patriots won the turnover battle with, I think, 2 fumble recoveries. This was a great defensive game, and the Bengals offense did not look up to form. There's a big issue. But what is it? Is it the run game? They didn't have a run game. Is it the pass game? Joe Burrow didn't look like Joe Burrow.
Yeah, he threw under 200 yards, no touchdowns.
21-29, pretty good. For 164 yards. That's rough. Zach Moss, 9 carries for 44 yards. Joe Burrow was running his little heart out. He had 4 carries. You don't want your non-mobile quarterback running like that.
Yeah.
Who does he think he is? Josh Allen?
With this loss, do we believe that Jamar Chase deserves a new contract?
I think it's too early to tell,
loss?
to be honest.
No. Just based on this loss, no.
Okay.
But Mike's right. It's too early to tell. It really is.
He definitely better step it up, though, if he's looking to get the numbers he said he's looking for.
All right. Understood. Moving to Atlanta, the Pittsburgh Steelers defeated the Falcons 18-10. Mike, what's your thoughts?
That one surprised me, too. The Falcons were one of my teams to watch, one of the biggest teams to watch this year. Apparently, they didn't do too much in that game. That was another one I didn't get to catch. But I'm not surprised that the Steelers got the win. I'm more so surprised that the Falcons took a loss. Because we know the Steelers are always contenders, like we talked about earlier. Kirk Cousins did throw 2 interceptions, 1 touchdown, only 155 yards. That's a rough start for him in Atlanta. I take back everything I said about the Falcons. No, I'm just kidding. But, yeah, that's a rough start for them. Hopefully they'll bounce back. They got loads of talent over there. I think they could still be a good unit. That's going to be a tough one to bounce back from.
I agree. Andrew, what's your thoughts?
First and foremost, hats off. Hats off. Jesus.
That sounds delicious.
Hats off to Chris Boswell, who had a fantastic game. The only scorer on the Steelers. He went 6 for 6. in order to get that 18-point victory. Not 8-point victory, I'm pretty sure, right? 18-10?
Yeah.
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 So really, really hats off to Chris Boswell. The defense for the Steelers looked phenomenal.
They did.
Absolutely suffocating.
Yeah.
But then there was Kirk Cousins, and I don't want to be that guy like, oh, he just needs time to adjust, but he just needs time to adjust, guys. I don't think there's no panic button to press right now if you're an Atlanta fan. I just think that Kirk Cousins went in a little too cocky, and he got a little bit humbled.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's week 1. At the end of the day, 16 teams are going to win and 16 are going to lose. That's just the way it goes.
Yeah. And it's Kirk up. Like, just give him time.
Yeah. Give him time in this new
Atlanta
offensive system. He's finally running this playbook at full capacity.
In New Orleans, we have another shocker. The Saints defeated the Carolina Panthers 47-10. Andrew, what's your thoughts?
Is it a shocker? The Panthers were the worst team in the NFL last year.
That's true. I didn't expect them to win by that much, but
Yeah.
Panthers, I guess, are sticking to their guns.
I'm not. How did Young do?
I actually didn't see his performance, but Derek Carr on the other side did have 200 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah,
So
Derek Carr had a good game.
Yeah.
Bryce Young went for 13 for 30 for 161 yards and 2 interceptions.
That is absolutely terrible.
Abysmal. I think it's time to start thinking about a new quarterback.
How the hell
prospect.
do you... That's like third string level. How are you supposed to win with a guy like that?
That is operating at a 40% completion percentage.
You can't be playing in the NFL with numbers like that.
No.
Yeah.
The Panthers are going to be the first 0-17 team in the NFL history.
Panthers are the new Browns.
The new Lions.
Yeah.
Were they projected to go winless this year?
No, I don't think
Panthers?
anyone's ever really projected a team to go winless. They're probably not
The
going to go
Cardinals
winless.
were last year.
No,
Interesting.
it's really, really hard to go winless. You have to be trying to go winless, man.
Gotta get those draft picks somehow.
Yeah.
If only, they didn't trade their one away 2 years ago to get Bryce Young.
Yeah. And now he's doing better than he was with them.
No, they have Bryce Young.
Oh. No, I mean, didn't they have... Who did they have last year at quarterback? Was
Bryce
it still
Young.
Bryce?
Bryce
Who was
Young.
backing up? Who backed up Bryce last
Andy
year?
Dalton?
Was
Or-
Sam Darnold not
Yes.
in... Was Sam Darnold not in Carolina?
Sam Darnold was in San Francisco last year.
Sam Darnold was in Carolina with Baker Mayfield.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
3-4 years ago.
Damn, time flies. I thought
Yeah.
that was like last year.
No.
Yeah.
No,
Darnold went
because,
from the Jets
the Panthers
to the
traded
Panthers
up
to San Francisco.
The Panthers traded up to the Bears 2 years ago to select Bryce Young
Oh.
as quarterback. And then, what was it? They went 0 and... They didn't go 0 and 7. They lost. They were the worst team in the NFL last year.
Mm.
But they lost their
Yeah.
first round pick to the Bears. So the
Yeah.
Bears were able to get Caleb Williams.
Mm.
Yep.
That's rough. They got a rough string of luck over
yeah.
there.
You're not getting your money's worth, but kind of getting what you deserve.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens when you trade everything for one person.
Yeah, what
And
goes
I'm
around
a-
comes around.
Yeah. Like me speaking for myself, I never agree when it comes to trading that many picks for a player because you're not sure on what you'll get.
Yeah.
The transition
true.
from college or high school to the NFL can be a mystery.
So many people like Johnny Manziel, Colt McCoy. I'm just naming off Browns quarterbacks right now. Baker Mayfield.
Like that, those are great examples. I was gonna say Trevor Lawrence because I remember the
Trevor,
hype
yeah.
that was behind Trevor Lawrence when he went to the Jaguars. Oh man, he's gonna go to the Jaguars and we're going straight to the playoffs.
Yeah.
He hasn't touched the playoffs, I think, until his second or third year, which is still impressive nonetheless. But the expectations were so high from him going from college to the NFL.
Yeah.
It's a risk that you're going to take. So for an NFL organization, say, yeah, we're going to trade 3, 4, 5 picks to trade up and get this one player. That's what happens. So I would not doubt that this is potentially Bryce Young's last year with the Carolina Panthers. I'm not sure who they're going to transition to. I doubt there's people thinking. I doubt that they're going to re-sign someone like Cam Newton. They're probably going to get another shot with a rookie, but we'll see.
We will see.
Yep. Now, moving towards Indianapolis, the Houston Texans barely squeaked in a win against the Indianapolis Colts and won 29-27. Mike, what's your thoughts?
That's a close one. That's another one I didn't get to catch. I've been super, super busy. Haven't been able to watch as much football this weekend as I would have liked to. Do we know how CJ performed in that game? Did he?
Yeah, CJ Stroud went 24 of 32 for 234 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's a pretty strong performance. And obviously my pick for that game was the Texans. I think they're going to have another really strong year. Didn't expect it to be that close. I knew it would be close, but 2 points is pretty crazy. How did Anthony Richardson look?
Anthony Richardson looked pretty good, and I want to say he should be proud. He hasn't played a game since like week 3 of last year. He went 9 for 19, which sounds pretty terrible, for 212 yards. So that's 9 completions, 212 yards, 6 carries for 56 yards and a pair of touchdowns and 1 pick. Nothing stellar, but also probably one of the better quarterback.
That's a good starting point for coming back from that injury. That's not bad at all. That's definitely a close game. That seems like it was a good one. Another one I wish I could have caught.
Yeah, it was a great game. There's a couple takeaways I had. If the Texans want to succeed, and if they're going to make my man CJ Stroud the MVP this year, they're going to have to clean up their line play. Their line was abysmal, allowing a 38% pressure rate and allowed 4 sacks all game. That's just, you can't be doing that.
Yeah.
Joe Mixon had a really good showing. He had 159 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good too. Yeah, it looks like it was pretty explosive, and I think the Texans are going to be real good this year. I think the Colts will be too. I think Anthony Richardson's only going to get better from here, so it'll be fun to watch.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree. The Texans are definitely a team that I was looking at as well. Did expect more concerning who's on the team now. I've spoken high regards to the team since they've gotten Stephon Diggs and Joe Mixon. So for them to come as close as they did is a shocker. On the flip side of that, watching the game with Richardson, I can see why it was as close as it was. So good game nonetheless.
Yeah.
In Chicago, the Bears defeated the Tennessee Titans 24-17. Andrew, what's your thoughts?
I want to say this was a good game, but it really wasn't. It really wasn't. The Titans should have ran away with this game. They really should have. The Bears bailed themselves out with great defensive play, great special teams play. Caleb Williams did not look good this game.
Oof, that's hard.
Not at all.
Hurts to hear.
14 of 29 for 93 yards.
Ooh.
Yeah.
14 of 29 for 93 yards.
That's really bad.
That is really, really bad.
I can run that.
Rushing, 5 rushes for 15 yards. So in total, he just cracked 100 yards.
Damn, that is rough.
Yeah,
So
that's
he
like
only
6 yards per carry.
Yeah, a little over 6.5 yards per pass.
Attempt. Yeah, that's rough. DeAndre Swift had a abysmal day. 10 rushes for 30 yards. Receiving DJ Moore did all he could do. 5 catches for 36 yards. Keenan Allen had 4 catches for 29 yards, and your boy Romo Dunze had 1 catch for 11 yards.
Wow.
I don't want to push the panic button for any Bears fans out there. Oh, this is just Justin Fields 2.0. I'm not going to say that, but something's got to give. I don't know how you go from a really good preseason to just 93 yards in 4 quarters of football.
Yeah. Against the Titans, who really aren't.
Yeah. I didn't catch this game. I kept up with the score. The Titans led most of the game.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
It was, I think it was a pick 6.
It was a scoop and score.
Was it? I thought it was a pick 6.
It was a scoop and score by Simone Biles' husband.
Simone Biles' husband.
My apologies for not knowing your name. Andy did not. My apologies. Mike, did you
By
catch
Jaylen
the game?
Johnson?
Yes. It's a question mark.
Yeah.
I did not catch the game, but
no, never mind.
So I'll speak on Caleb's behalf, and I'll say there were many opportunities for the score to be different. There was a overthrown pass to Keenan Allen that should have went upfield for not even a touchdown, but to have gotten them in red zone range. There was also, which shocked me, there was a drop touchdown pass to Keenan Allen that went through his hands.
Oof.
I want to base it on maybe jitters because it's his first game in the NFL, and we did see him struggle a little bit when it comes to the preseason. I'm not going to press the red button like what Andrew previously just said. However, the Bears, along with the Atlanta Falcons, the Texans, are all teams that are restructuring that I had eyes on this year. So to see all of them operate differently and in a way that I wasn't expecting is kind of drawing red flags in my head. But I'm going to continue to watch because I do have high expectations for all of them.
I agree.
And with that concludes the NFL Week 1 recap. We'll be moving on to our next segment. Who you got poll prediction of the week? This Thursday night, the Buffalo Bills will face the Miami Dolphins. Who you got? Andy, you go first.
It's going to be a great game. I'm very excited for this, but I'm also a little bit nervous. The Bills gave up a lot of points to the Cardinals this week.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys caught it. I think the ending score was like 28 to 34. I'm just getting confirmation.
Yeah.
28-34. Look at that. Boom. I don't know if I can trust that defense to hold Tyreek Hill, Jaylen Waddle, and Achane in check.
Mm.
I'm actually leaning to the Dolphins on this one.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you. The Dolphins had a comeback win today, actually, which is funny because we were talking about off podcast. Tyreek Hill actually got pulled over and put in handcuffs.
I don't think that was funny.
No, but you know what I mean.
I agree with Stephen A. Smith.
But he actually still made it to the game, put up a touchdown, 100+ yards, and
insane celebration.
Yeah, crazy celebration, and got that comeback win for the Dolphins. So I think I made a statement on the last episode or maybe the one before that about how I think the Buffalo Bills might kind of take a step back this year. I think they're going to struggle against Miami. I think Miami could come out and get the win. I'm going to have to go with Miami on this one.
I also have Miami.
Oh.
Just due to the fact that today was a glimpse of how the rest of the season for Josh Allen is going to go. I don't think me personally I've seen Josh Allen struggle this much, but just due to the fact that Stephon Diggs is gone, makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense. So we'll be seeing how Josh will operate from today moving forward. But I got Miami.
Yeah, I would agree.
All right. So for our next question of the Who Got It poll prediction of the week, with week 1 of the 2024 NFL season coming to a close, who you got as player of the week? Mike, you go first.
This is a tough one because, like I said, I was only able to catch a handful of games. But just off the ones I did catch and some of the numbers I've heard, I'm going to have to give it to Saquon Barkley. I think he had a really good week. Might not have been anything towards record-breaking or anything like that. But I think coming in there with a lot of questions about whether he's still got it and what he can do for this offense in Philadelphia, I think he really put the team on his back. Like we talked about, Jalen Hurts had his struggles. I think he's a key player over there, and I think he showed it in his Philadelphia debut.
All right. Andrew, who you got?
Well, I was kind of looking at some numbers real quick. And I'm kind of in between two people, I'm not going to lie to you. The first person is Derek Carr, who probably had his best performance as a quarterback since he was a Raider.
Yeah, it's a good pick, too.
200 yards, 3 touchdowns. I don't think any quarterback really outperformed that. I think he was the best player this week. The second option would have been... hold on, I got to scroll back in my notes. Joe Mixon, who only had 1 touchdown, but 159 yards rushing is pretty good. And those are just my offensive player of the week. I haven't dived into the defense at all yet. So it's going to have to be a whole nother story.
Fair enough. For me, I'll probably say both of my players is Derek Carr if not Derek Carr, then Saquon Barkley. Within the first games, both of them have proven that they still got it. I remember when Derek Carr left the Raiders to go to the Saints. Me and Mike laugh about it all the time, but he was like, "Oh, I don't think I did so hot. That's why I'm leaving."
Yeah.
His previous year was not a great year. We can all admit that it wasn't. But for this year, for him to pop off the way he did is insane. Of course, once again, we talked about it previously. It's the Panthers. We wouldn't expect anything less. But still, for them to run up the score as high as they did is nothing but incredible. Same thing with Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley has shut up all the haters, a.k.a. the New York Giants organization, that age is not a factor. For him to be a dual threat running back, to not only score in the air but on the ground, is incredible. So I'll probably pick those as both of my week one players of the week.
That's fair.
That's fair. I would personally go with, in my opinion, Joe Mixon's performance. He only scored one touchdown, but 159 yards compared to 109 yards. It's a big difference, in my opinion. But I can also respect Saquon Barkley winning it if he were to win it.
Absolutely.
I agree with all that we have said, and that concludes the Who You Got poll prediction of the week. And now we'll be moving on to wrestling, starting off with AEW. Former WWE superstar Ricochet made his official debut at AEW All in London. Andrew, what is your thoughts?
You know, I didn't actually catch All in London. I just wanted to say it like that. It sounds fun. All in London. Anyway, but I think Ricochet is going to have a great time in AEW. AEW excels at what Ricochet excels. It's not about really building the character as much as it is at putting on 5-star matches. And I know Ricochet can definitely put on a 5-star match.
Yeah.
I would love to see what AEW can do to help build him and eventually maybe make him a superstar. He deserves it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fair. It was really cool to see him debut. Kind of as, performed as he always does. Nothing too crazy, nothing we haven't seen, but like we talked about when he originally departed from WWE, I think they'll put him to good use over there, and I think he fits in really well over there. I think it's a good fit for him. They hinted at a feud with Will Ospreay at some point. And
who's getting carted off the field? I'm sorry.
Who's getting carted off the
Puka.
field? Oh, no.
Pookie Bear?
Yeah, they hinted at a rivalry with Will Ospreay at some point, and then Pac came in. They might have a rivalry with him as well. A lot of cool stuff going over there with Ricochet, so that's cool to see. I've kind of fallen off of watching AEW, to be honest with you. There's a lot of stuff I've grown to not like. The promos just don't make any sense.
Recently have fallen off watching AEW.
Yeah, the promos are just super sloppy. The way they treat the women division is like very similar to how WWE used the Divas back in the day. It's just the wrestlers just have too much control. It's just too sloppy. It's too sloppy. Too all over the place for me. Very, very good wrestling, fun to watch. But if you're looking for storylines, it's just way too sloppy. But
Would you say it's equivalent to the Hub?
Absolutely, that's pretty much.
Yeah, I agree. I am also looking forward to Ricochet. I've fallen off as well in regards to watching it. I do believe in an interview when asked why did Ricochet leave WWE and go to AEW, he didn't say it was necessarily due to the company, but it was more of the people that are in the company, such as his friends that he's wrestled along with in New Japan and other indie promotions. So I'm ready to see what he does with Will Ospreay. They've had many of rivalry matches in different companies. I'm also looking forward to see what he does with Pac, formerly known as Neville, to WWE fans. I know his in-ring ability is going to be great. The one thing and the only request I make is keep him away from the mic because promos are not really his strong point.
Well, that's okay because promos aren't the strong point of AEW either.
Correct.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, he should use this as an opportunity to grow.
If anything, they should give him a general manager because that seems to be the ongoing thing that's in AEW. Almost everyone has a general manager or a wrestling partner that speaks on their behalf. For instance, Christian Cage and Luchasaurus. Luchasaurus doesn't. Well, his name's not Luchasaurus anymore. It's Switchblade? Not Switchblade.
Kill Switch.
Kill Switch, thank you. He doesn't really speak, but Christian Cage speaks on his behalf. So, all in all, I'm looking forward to see what the company does with him. Hopefully, he doesn't fall down through the hundreds of people in the roster. I'm sure they're going to use him appropriately because he has such a star status. But that concludes the AEW news. Moving on to WWE news. So, unfortunate news coming from WWE. Superstar Odyssey Jones has been fired from the company amidst domestic violence allegations. Mike, what's your thoughts?
I didn't really read too much about this, so I can't say too much about the guy. I don't want to slander him or anything like that. It's very disappointing, though. He just got involved in that the New Day storyline. It seemed like they were hinting at a heel turn with Woods and Kofi there. I'm sure they'll find another way to make it work if they want to still go that route. He was definitely very, very talented. A lot of fun to watch. If the allegations are true, that's very unfortunate. Obviously, don't condone any activity like that. And I think that the only right decision was for the company to let him go, unfortunately. So, terrible situation all the way around, but still looking forward to seeing what they do with the New Day and the Karrion Kross situation and all that.
All right. Andrew, what's your thoughts?
I don't have too many thoughts about this. It's a very heavy topic to talk about. So specifically, I wanted to cover that if the allegations are proven to be true, thoughts out to the victim of this, and I hope Odyssey Jones has a terrible career, if that is true, of course. If it's not true, I hope Odyssey can find his way back in the WWE. But until these allegations are proven true or false, all I can say is rough break.
Yeah. He was a promising athlete, especially him getting involved with the New Day and Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston. I am a firm believer in innocent until proven guilty. We have seen many of athletes and celebrities fall due to such allegations in recent history. We've had Johnny Depp, who was shamed by corporations and companies who believe that he was guilty before, proven innocent. And light showed up and come to find out that they're innocent. Yeah. So hopefully, prayerfully, that these allegations aren't true, but if they are true, I hope that both the victim finds help and also Ozzy seeks some form of help. Situations like these are very sticky and take a lot of time to resolve and find answers to. But all in all, we can just hope for the best.
Absolutely.
Moving on to a more positive note, WWE superstar Uncle Howdy, a.k.a. Bo Dallas, defeated Chad Gable on his in-ring debut. Andrew, what's your thoughts?
It was a great match. Kind of starting to feel bad for Chad Gable again because he's just getting hammered over and over again by the Wyatt Six. Uncle Howdy had a great debut. I still love the storyline they're telling. I just wish they'd throw American Made a bone every once in a while, let him beat up on some jobbers or something.
Yeah, it's definitely a cool stable that they got. Chad Gable's been doing a phenomenal job. I hope that they have some type of success as well, but I am a big fan of the Wyatt Six and Uncle Howdy. Not really sure how I feel about his wardrobe. I kind of wish he had something on his arms. His bare white arms kind of threw me off a little bit, to be honest with you. But performance-wise, he looked really good. So it was a fun match. A lot of little tributes in there to Bray Wyatt too, which was.
Yeah, I believe that was the discussion that we had off podcast regarding his wardrobe. Not only was his gloves kind of throwing me off, but also his wig. There were moments in the match where his wig seemed a little offset or his real hair was showing, so I couldn't do anything but stare.
Yeah.
I'm sure eventually that's something that they can modify. But I don't know it was a great match, like you said, a great debut match. I don't know, a lot of inspiration and throwbacks to his brother and Bray Wyatt. And I'm looking forward to see what they do. Chad Gable is being put into the jobber type scene, but I do believe that they're treating him a lot better than what's going on SmackDown with Mi Chen, who's also a phenomenal wrestler.
Yeah.
But I'm only assuming that all this feud with American Made and the Y6 will build up to either Survivor Series or WrestleMania potentially. But the true question is, what's next after this feud? Like, who will Wyatt Six target? That's something that will soon be discovered, hopefully, and still a question that needs to be asked in the near future.
That's fair, yeah. They can do a lot. They can do a lot. I feel like that could be a topic for a future podcast episode when we have time to study that more.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. And with that, this concludes the WWE news, and we'll be moving on to the WWE Bash in Berlin recap.
Woo.
For our first match of the night, Cody Rhodes defeated Kevin Owens to retain the undisputed WWE Championship, almost at United States. God forbid. Mike, we start with you.
Well, I mean, it went pretty much as expected. There's really only one way it could go, and that's with Cody winning. Raise your hand if you thought KO was going to win. See that? That's exactly what I'm talking about. This was a fun match. Again, it went as expected. I think those two guys work really well with each other. And obviously, there were hints at KO turning on him. We didn't end up getting that. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun match. I'm not sure what it did for the title. It kind of felt like a little bit of a, I don't know what you would call it, like a
filler match.
Yeah, filler match.
Like all these matches, AJ Styles.
Yeah, Cody's reign, I'm not going to blame Cody for it, but you can definitely tell they're waiting to sort of have him mix it up with the whole Roman and Rock situation and all that stuff. This was a fun match, though. I enjoyed it.
I liked everything in this match. The only problem I have is I'm tired of Cody Rhodes hitting multiple crossroads on every opponent. I thought this was something he was saving for Roman.
Yeah.
But now he's using it against everyone he faces. I'm sure the next time he faces Dominic Mysterio, he's going to hit 6 crossroads in a row. It's a little bit much. You know,
it also makes his finisher look kind of weak.
Yeah, it really, like, as Roman said at the before WrestleMania last year, or during WrestleMania when he hit the crossroads. No wonder why he has to hit 3 of these, right? Yeah. It's a little bit much.
Well, it's my turn, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Well, when I was speaking to Andrew off podcast previously, I rated this PLE high. I have not fully re-reviewed the PLE because I did miss half of the Cody Rhodes match, and I must say my feelings towards it has changed drastically. I can only say I thoroughly believe that WWE still has no idea what to do with Cody. And it's evident.
No.
It's quite evident.
I really don't think that's what it is. And I don't want to invalidate you. I respect your opinion. I think that having a babyface in the role of champion just makes the reign boring. Personally. You want your top babyface to be chasing the champion, not, being the champion. And I understand they don't want to move off Cody yet. I get it. They tied themselves because it feels like nobody can really beat Cody. I didn't think Solo could. I didn't think AJ could. I didn't think KO could. I don't think there was one legitimate opponent Cody has faced where I thought they had a legitimate shot at the title. And that's not Cody's fault. That's the WWE's fault for not setting up any feud properly. You know what I mean?
No, I couldn't agree more. Leading up to this feud, I was asking myself the same question because it seemed as though each feud isn't really a feud. It's just a match that was booked, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like Kevin Owens, there's no beef. It seemed like Cody was trying to find beef, and it still wasn't hitting the way another feud would, attach.
Yeah.
Right? So with this, I would just question, why is this happening? To some, this is a dream match, KO and Cody Rhodes, sure, But to me, this was just a match that happened.
No, and I really think it's because they wanted Gunther to be like the main event. They couldn't have this title be eclipsed, so they kind of had to go with a KO Cody where it's not heated up to not take away from that world heavyweight title match that they had.
Absolutely. I think it just feels weird having. No. I agree with your points. I think it just feels weird when you see two baby faces fight each other, and
no, absolutely,
there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But when you have a champion in Cody trying to like fish for an issue to arise. Like you have KO saying, "Oh man, come on, let's talk about this tour. Your knee's hurt." No, my knee's not hurt. And then you have Cody saying, "Yeah, I can see why you'd be angry. I took the spotlight." And Kevin's like, "Not really." It just seemed kind of awkward. The awkwardness that arose during the segment prior to the PLE was the same awkwardness I felt when Dwayne spoke to Cody after WrestleMania.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel that.
It seemed kind of.
I've been really busy, and I didn't even catch that SmackDown reel.
It seemed very forced and unnecessary. It was a segment that did not need to happen.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we get it. You guys are friends. All right. There's no beef. There's no ill will. There's no point in you guys having a face-to-face. First of all, because face-to-faces are one of the most redundant segments. John Cena has stated years ago when he went against Roman Reigns and literally signed the contract in crayon. It's something that doesn't need to happen. It's not.
Yeah.
So for y'all to make this feud, quote unquote, match seem as though like a friendship is going to break, it's not going to happen. No one fought for it. We all knew the final results of this match, whether they're going to be beef or not. So I could have done without this match, is all I'm pretty much saying.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree.
Moving on to the second match of the night, BLM defeated Hot Topic to become the new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. Andrew, what's your thought?
Well, first of all, I just wanted to say that, wow. Jade Cargill has had her best match yet. I think that she looked fantastic. That she looked better than she's ever done previously in the WWE and AEW. She's really coming out as a top babyface, whether or not she remains. Obviously, they're putting the titles back on them because I feel like that betrayal is inch closer and closer. Is it going to be Bianca? Probably not. I don't see how. Probably going to be Jade. I honestly can't wait for it. And this match was great. This match was absolutely great. I think this match did wonders to elevate the Women's Tag Team Championship that has been struggling on any other champion out there. I don't think the championship has been relevant since probably before I even started watching again. I mean, when I fell back in love with wrestling, that was when Damage Control helped, and they were pretty much irrelevant.
Yeah.
Yep.
They were the only women's faction time.
Yeah, I feel like Jade and Bianca are really the only ones that have brought really well together, and they're both so much fun to watch. Mm-hmm. I hope that this title reign for them is, I can't see being this way, but I would hope that somehow, some way it's a turning point for the tag title. But we'll see how the booking turns out, but I'm glad they won it. I enjoy it. Hopefully it put together some good match.
Yeah, agreed. BLM, aka Jay Cargill and Bianca Belair, these titles are made for them. The belts hasn't had as much relevancy with other tag teams, no disrespect to the Unholy Union, but when they initially won it, we were all pleased for it due to the events that occurred surrounding that PLE, but they didn't really do much. I believe they had one title defense on SmackDown. It was a 3-way tag team match, which resulted in them winning. And then with this PLE, they had their second title defense.
Didn't they have someone coming out and helping them for a little bit every time they were having a match? I don't remember.
I don't remember either. That's how irrelevant the titles are.
Perhaps. Yeah, perhaps. Maybe.
I'm struggling to remember right now.
No, and that's fair, and that's the issue.
If anyone remembers, please leave a comment and down below, please.
Matches that are surrounded around a title should be memorable, and that's been an ongoing issue, whether it's the women's championships
US
or even
title, Intercontinental Championship. Besides when Gunther held it,
quite literally.
Yeah,
Gunther his matches are very memorable. It all depends on like who holds the belt and just focal points of the match.
Roman had some incredibly memorable matches. So did Seth Rollins with the World Heavyweight.
Absolutely.
Cody, the first AJ Cody match was great. The second one was great.
Yep.
But the one with Solo, that one, it's only going to be memorable because Roman.
And that overshadowed everything. And that's not to discredit the wrestlers. We're not discrediting the wrestlers that hold the belt. But we're saying that the reigns themselves have been very lackluster. Like Logan Paul. Logan Paul's a great wrestler. However, when he held the U.S. Championship, it was not a memorable reign because he held the belt for No, 3 times? Was it 3 times? It was either 3 or 2.
His last one.
I think it was the third time was against LA Knight because he had a defense against Cody. No, never mind. He didn't defend against Cody.
He was, and then they changed it. He did defend it against LA Knight, and nope, that's it. That's all I can remember.
Hold on.
That's not good.
Again, yeah, you're right. Not memorable, man.
Like, for one, they don't decide to build a feud.
He had that triple threat between KO and Randy.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I remember that.
That was a good match. That really was a good match.
Yeah. See, those matches are great, but it took you to research it to remember it.
Yep. It really did.
That's a problem.
Well, it's
and it's not
Logan
to discredit the athletes.
A huge part of that match. Most of that match, Logan got his ass kicked at the beginning, and then he came in to steal the victory at the end.
Precisely. I was gonna say he literally got beaten up. He's quite frankly, he was the Austin Theory to that belt. Because if we all recall here, Austin Theory also held the belt. He didn't have too many memorable matches, but the matches he did ended in similar fashion, where he would get beaten up and
he
just
had a memorable way he got
win.
the title.
Yep. Yeah. He got knocked out and laid on a guy.
Sami Zayn has some.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. But how many of those matches can you? Not too many.
Braun Breaker 1, Braun Breaker 2.
Braun Breaker 3 to Revenge of Braun Breaker. But yeah, the women's tag championships are going to be great. I do believe that the only reason why they put them back on Bianca and Jade is for that heel turn. And it is going to be Jade. I have seen Bianca as a heel back when she was at NXT. But Jade is such a better heel. We've seen it in AEW, especially when she was feuding with, forgetting her name, but Cody Rhodes' wife and even Cody Rhodes.
Yeah,
thank you, Brandy.
But
so that for sure is going to be a WrestleMania match that I'm looking forward to.
Real quick, to not discredit you, because she is a good heel, Jade. The bigger shock would be if Bianca, right? So we might be going for the wow factor.
I mean, Bianca is kind of due for a turn, honestly. She's been a baby
for a very, very long time. And I don't think I predicted it, but I did say with Jade kind of being sloppy, unintentionally, of course, they can use this as a thing for the feud. With Jade being sloppy, maybe not being on her game, that's what flips the switch. And that's what could build up the feud. Because we all recall what happened many PLEs ago when Jade slipped on a rope and that, quote unquote, resulted in them losing the title matches. So I can see if that happens again, that's what's going to lead Bianca to turn heel.
I could see that too. I could absolutely see that too.
Yeah.
But again, no, like, I'm just saying, like, the wow factor, I do agree with you. I think it's going to be Jade. I think everyone thinks it's going to be Jade, which is why they could put a little flip-flop and make it be Bianca. Doubt it. It's hard because, it's Super Bianca. She's beloved by so many of the younger generation. And just because she's not, made for me doesn't mean that I don't respect her as a athlete and a wrestler. She's one of the best. Hands
the bestest, the toughest, the roughest.
Yeah, she is the EST.
and that could be
that was a cringe.
And that's no, you're good. No, you're good. Because if you think about it, that could be her heel persona. Because think about it, as a face, yes, she says she's the roughest, the toughest, the bestest. If she flips that can be her ego.
Yeah,
that can be her whole persona. Quite literally thinking that she is the EST of WWE and that she can beat anyone. So that. I
should be mingling with the tag team channel. I should be right there in the women's title picture because I am the greatest. Yeah, I can see
precisely.
That. Yeah,
Charlotte Flair has done it. Yeah. So many a times.
But that's someone I could never see be a face ever again. Same with Dominic.
She tried and look how that happened. Yeah, Dom. That heel turn was very much needed. But
hey, he's the greatest heel. He is the EST of heels.
Clearly, he doesn't even need to speak and he gets boos.
Yeah, dude, it was. I'm telling you, it was probably my favorite part booing Dominic Mysterio at.
Yeah.
What do you think, Mike?
I agree.
Yeah,
wholeheartedly.
Brock Lesnar came back that night. It wasn't the same as booing the shit out of Dominic Mysterio,
it was not at all.
Dang. Well, hopefully that's something I'm able to see in the near future. And we'll be talking about Dom after we'll talk about this interesting match.
Woot.
For a third match of the night, CM Punk defeated Drew McIntyre in a strap match.
Please me.
Andrew, you go first.
Thank you. I appreciate you. And I know you love CM Punk.
All right, so I'm going to go in. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm going to let you finish real quick, Mike, okay? I just want to step on in, all right? I'm going to let you finish. Because there's no doubt you're one of the greatest commentators of all time. This match was great. Everything about this match was great except for the goddamn stipulation. Dude, it was so distracting. I was watching it with Mike. Me and Mike both missed the PLE. We were both super busy that day. So we decided to skip the spoilers and watch it together, right? So we're watching it and we're sitting there like, what are the freaking rules of this match, dude? What are the rules of this match? What resets the four corners?
Yeah.
I still don't know. I watched the match. I don't know. I watched it 3 times already. I don't know. It was a good match. I loved everything that happened in the beginning. But this match is not a blood feud match. It just isn't.
No.
Great match, though. I love the ending sequence with CM Punk tapping one corner going, oh, GTS. He shouldn't be GTS.
Yeah.
Drew McIntyre is too big of a guy.
He's huge. Yeah, I hate this finisher. I wasn't a big fan of the stipulation either. The match itself was really good, though, and they did a really good job with how they booked it. Like Andrew said, the finish was really good as well. Didn't like the stipulation. I especially didn't like that the the good guy had green lights and the bad guy had red lights. I thought that was corny.
That was way too on the nose, too. Yeah, get it? Because CM Punk is the face and Drew's the heel.
You wanted to
Triple H is like, I fucking love it, dude.
Cheer for the guy that lights up green. That's who you're supposed to cheer for. Green means go.
I did like that one sequence. That one single sequence where Drew McIntyre picked up CM Punk and was walking around the ring with him. And he goes over, presses a button, CM Punk presses a button behind him. I kind of like that sequence.
Yeah.
That was the only thing that made the stipulation fun. I just hate...
There was some cool stuff in it. But the good news is the feud is ongoing because Drew would attack CM Punk again on the next Raw. So.
Yeah, if they don't have a goddamn casket match or an Inferno match...
Or they gotta have something serious.
Ambulance match.
God... Anything but a Punjabi prison match. I am fine with
when the
it.
fans can't even see inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, you need a better stipulation for this final sequence.
I agree. Yeah.
What were your thoughts?
I don't know, like the match. I need the results of it. However, I can say the stipulation on the match was very odd, especially with the last sequence, because during the match, if someone was to hit a turnbuckle and extended amount of time eclipsed, the light would turn off. But you mean to tell me CM Punk is just moseying around the ring and GTSing
Drew McIntyre,
thank you, Drew McIntyre, and the lights are still on?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
What reset it? Because there was one point in time where they're just knocked down, drag out, just brawling center of the ring, knocking each other, and the lights are still on.
Right.
Like,
yeah, it makes no sense. And then the dumb buildup of them moseying on over to the corner, hitting the button, all slow motion, just grabbing the rope, walking down.
I hated it.
It was such a dumb stipulation. This would be good for a tag team championship match where you have 4 people all strapped together, brawling. That would be fun there. But this is just
I don't think I've never seen that.
blood feud. It was such. Why are we having a game show?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, I do have another complaint, however. I'm getting tired of
Me too.
finishers not working.
Yeah.
So you mean to tell me that CM Punk ate a finisher and immediately got back up?
Yeah, exactly.
It would be different, say, okay, cool, the opponent's weak, the finisher isn't effective enough, it didn't get all the damage. But for him to literally kick off CM Punk's head and Punk was up in like 15-30 seconds, I don't agree with that. It doesn't sit right with my stomach at all.
I think they've done it before with Drew McIntyre when he went in for a Claymore and they're like, oh, he didn't get off of his foot. His leg's hurting. He didn't get all of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no, there's none of that. And I don't know. And my least favorite part, after everything I've seen CM Punk and Drew McIntyre put each other, no extracurricular after match activity. Mm-hmm. Like CM Punk isn't going out there hitting another GTS on Drew McIntyre. He's not. It just wasn't enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think for him, just getting the bracelet and the win sufficed in the moment. And even when he claimed on Monday, he was like, yep, I'm now chasing for the title. I think he thought he was done. Clearly he's not.
Yeah.
He's in an ambulance.
That's fair.
So
again.
blood feud.
Yeah.
So yeah, we all expected more, but it wasn't a terrible match. It was a great second singles match for Punk. He's now 1-1. Previous match was with same guy he fought now. So yeah.
Yep.
Moving on to our fourth match of the night, we had Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley defeating Dirty Dom and Liv Morgan in a mixed tag team match. Mike, what's your thoughts?
I really love the team of Rhea. I think they're doing a really good job with those two.
Terror Twins.
They all have really good chemistry as well. So I think Liv is probably in her peak right now. I think she's the best she's ever been. I think the way they tie Dom into it all as probably the top heel right now is working wonders for them. So I love that whole feud that they have going on, and I'm excited to see how it progresses moving forward.
Yeah, I'm pretty much right there with you. I think the Terror Twins getting the win there was 100% the right choice. I love that little tease that they keep teasing with Rhea Ripley about to riptide the living hell out of Dominic.
Yeah.
And I can't wait for that payoff, because that payoff is going to be massive. I think Liv, as to your point, she had one of her best matches of her career, and especially the best match back. She looked absolutely great in this match. She was pulling out things that she's never pulled out before. And this definitely helped further the storyline. And my favorite part, can't always say this before in crowds. My favorite part was that I've never seen a crowd get behind a mixed tag. Germany did a great job. Can't wait for the payoff. I don't know if the payoff is even coming.
Yeah, I agree. After this match, there were speculations or rumors that potentially this match could allude to Rhea Ripley having a one-on-one with Dirty Dom. Which I think thoughts on that? Why am I keep saying thanks?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think the WWE is very far away.
I don't know if Raw's on Netflix. It's possible.
That's true. That's I would love for it to happen. Top babyface versus top heel.
Yeah, it'd be pretty cool. I mean, I'm not itching for it, but it would definitely be fun to watch.
Yeah, I think it would get eyes on.
We haven't. Match.
What's up with you, Pujama prison matches?
I hate them. Terrible stipulation. Almost as bad. Almost as bad as a strap match.
Which is fair, because the last time we saw a Pujami prison match was when Randy Orton went against the Maharaja, Jinder Mahal, and the Great Khali came out of nowhere and interfered. Yep, and hindered Jinder. So I'm for seeing Rhea Ripley go against a guy. WWE in recent history has alluded to that. I remember when Becky Lynch received the end of days and Seth Rollins went ape on freaking Michael's favorite wrestler. I can't believe I'm not remembering names.
Baron Corbin.
That's so embarrassing. Thank you, Baron Corbin. In a mixed tag team match, we also saw Nia Jax receive a RKO and a 619 in the Rumble many years ago.
My favorite moments.
I was really pining for when they were trying to get the Randy versus Judgment Day going when Randy came back. I was really waiting for an RKO to Rhea.
Yeah.
I think we all were.
Yeah.
And even the crowd was itching for it.
Yeah.
I wanted to see it. That's something I still want to see because Rhea, many people are agreeing that Rhea is pretty much the second coming of China. And even Dom is the second coming of Eddie Guerrero. Well, he has his euphemism and the way he acts and portrays like Eddie. So if they were to have a match, I'd be down for it. With the new Netflix deal, that's something that can definitely happen. But
yeah,
time will tell. Time will tell. Now, finally, for our final match, our main event of the night, Gunther defeated Randy Orton to retain the World Heavyweight Championship. Andrew, what's your thoughts?
I think this match delivered for what it was. I don't think this match was anywhere close to as good as their first match at King of the Ring. But I think this match was great. I loved the ending sequence of just Gunther not letting up, just continuing the chokehold on Randy over and over again. Every time Randy found a way out, Gunther put him back right in it. And that's what did it for me. It was a great match. I think this was a fantastic match. It was two great mind game masterminds.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with everything you said. I think it was really good. I thought their first match was better. I see why it was the main event. The German crowd seemed to love it. Actually, for a second, thought it'd be kind of cool. You know, what if Randy actually wins this? So the fact that I wasn't 100% certain, the testament to the build-up, really how well they both handled the whole. So I thought it was good for what it was. It was a really solid match. It was a good main event, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I think, all right, that's another pair of people that had really good chemistry to watch.
I have no criticism from the match, but I do have criticism to the fans. Wrestling fans, you need to stop. You need to stop.
Okay.
There was when after this match concluded, and of course WWE posted the results on their social media accounts. There are tons of fans bashing and just sending hate to WWE, wondering why Randy didn't win. Quite frankly, if you thought Randy was going to win, I'm sorry. Like you don't know proper story building. No disrespect. If one of you guys believe Randy should have won, of course we all want Randy to win. I want Randy to win just on the fact that will potentially build up the final match for John Cena. But story wise, it doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't. And I'm right there with you. Like, trust me, man. I want to go out there and say my favorite superstar is going to win every. You know, if it were up to me, Sami Zayn would have been breaking the World Heavyweight Championship record. But it's not up to me.
Yeah.
But you also have to realize other people need to. Randy Orton is past his prime. Don't get me wrong. He can still wrestle, but he is past his prime. I don't see a reason to put a title on him. That's what the WWE. No reason. There was especially a reason to keep the title on Gunther there to legitimize his championship run and a title that is still struggling to take off. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, it wouldn't make much sense to take the title off of someone that just had the record-breaking length for the previous title, which was the IC championship.
Exactly. I'm right there.
Like, Gunther is set to be one of the strongest and brutal wrestlers in WWE. So it wouldn't make much sense to ship it off of him. Of course, Randy's going to get another chance or opportunity to get the title, and if he does, I believe he will win. But it's not the right time right now.
I believe that he will win. No, I agree with you. 100.
Cool. And with that was Bash in Berlin. So with that, what'd you rate Bash in Berlin out of 10?
I still think it was a really good showing. Give it a solid 7.5.
7.5? Okay. Mike?
I give it about the same, a 7 to a 7.
Okay. So for me, I know originally I rated it like a 8.9 to 9.3. I probably rated like a 7.9 to 8.2.
That's so specific.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
It's just a range, just due to the fact that, once again, it's a PLE that was great. It was a great PLE, but just due to the fact that it was predictable. I said it earlier, the Cody Rhodes match was not necessary, in my opinion. It didn't boost the championship whatsoever. It didn't boost Cody's reign. It was a match that happened because it happened, and that was it. There was no proper build-up. There's no blood loss between the two. The Jade match was just to take the belts off of someone that wasn't pushing it properly. The Gunther's matches have always been box office, hands down.
Yeah,
like straight down the board.
What did I just say? Pretty much is what I meant to say. Not really much.
No, you're good. The Judgment Day tag team match exceeded my expectations and was far better than I think any of us would have thought.
Yeah,
and that was great.
Yeah, like
all in all, the PLE.
You don't really get too many really good mixed tag team matches. That was pretty
right. Good. Yeah, like all in all, the PLE wasn't terrible. It wasn't bad. It was just good. It wasn't anything amazing. I didn't have any high expectations, but I do think that WWE needs to reevaluate, make more surprises. Don't save the surprises like what you've said in previous podcasts, Andrew. Don't save the surprises for like the big 3, big 4 PLEs. You know?
Yeah.
Like why hold that out for the Rumble or WrestleMania or even SummerSlam?
Exactly.
Like, make it happen. You know, if I can predict how each match is going to go nearly to a T, then that's not right. You know. But I do understand that they're trying to please the fans. It wasn't a terrible match. It wasn't a terrible show, but yeah. So, with that, does anyone else have anything before we conclude this episode?
Of course, I want to reiterate our previous topic real quick. Happy birthday.
Absolutely. Happy birthday, big guy.
Thank you. I'm turning 26 tomorrow. Can you tell?
Yeah.
You're thrilled.
For Saquon's birthday, can we get at least 7 likes?
Yeah, also make sure you participate in that poll. It'll be on YouTube and on the Spotify as well. And follow us over on Spotify and Instagram too.
Absolutely. This will be a thing that we'll be trying to do on every episode of the podcast, just to get some interaction from you guys. We know that you want more. Mike, do you have anything you want to say?
That's all I got. Just we appreciate the support, everybody that's been tuning in from the shorts and everything. We appreciate all the new people coming in and checking us out. And yeah, we're going to have a bunch of football stuff. Football season's in full swing, so we're excited. And we're looking forward to bringing you more content each and every week.
Yep, and once again, if you like what you heard today, please comment, like, and subscribe. We're available on most streaming platforms, YouTube, almost TikTok, Instagram, and Spotify. TikTok is still something that we'll be working on in the foreseeable future. But this has been us from Free State Sports Podcast. We'll see you in the next one.